Z do have the honor of the last ban here. Not going to quite be able to ban out everything they want, but they will get to pick two different carries there. And the reaction says,
now
"Oh,
I'm
Kobe."
excited for what are they going to play in the mid lane, because that's 6 for 6 bans, mid lane champions here, and you know that's always a very important lane for especially this matchup. Everyone talks about Shifter all the time when they're talking about Coast and the plays that he can make.
Yeah, we'll have to see here. Bishu as well, looking very impressive in the games as well. He really seems to be kind of the key to his team, and there's so many strong champions left open, Kobe. It looks like we are going to get first pick Sivir now for Coast.
All right, so we will have the speed up. Everyone aware of Sivir's ability to increase everyone's speed in the team fights, chase people down. Something also you can do with her, like Doublelift was just talking about, use her for rotations, lane to lane rotations. So it could make those end game shot calls that you want to pull off, grab some objectives a little bit easier, just increasing the movement from objective to objective. Yeah,
we'll see what the Walking Zed want to consider for their first two picks here in this particular game here. And they've got a lot to think about here. They're going to take their time with this draft. And that was, for me, one of the biggest changes between games 1 and 2. Them to really take their time and draft very intelligently.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but it was Zion with 2 for 2 Shyvana picks. So this is actually, they're taking this away from Coast, as well as getting themselves an extremely beefy top laner.
I believe that's correct. Orianna being banned as well means that we're going to have to see another champion from Bishu as well, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll see exactly what they want to pick up here. But Jinx goes in there along with that Shyvana. And they've got another pick here. Walking Zed kind of out of time here. And
but those are all locked in. This is Coast time now.
Okay.
They're thinking about it.
I can't see the last champion.
But yeah, the Jinx also amazing in the late game. The ability to get those multiple speed ups and get excited multiple times enables her to chase down just as well as Sivir, as long as they get a kill.
Yeah, but Nintendo is going to go with Olaf there as well, as of course it was picks 1 and 2. My brain dying a little there after that long game. Apologies, ladies and gentlemen. Thresh and Olaf, the picks though for Coast.
All right, so always loving having really strong bruisers when you have a Sivir already. Sivir just makes these bruiser teams that much more potent because, like you can see, they can just run straight to the back line. It's completely true with Olaf, and Nintendo, no stranger to that champion.
It'd be interesting to see what else we see here from the Walking Zed as well. Saw Karma last game from them, which was kind of cute. We haven't seen that in support yet, I believe, this weekend, but got a lot of picks here. I like the highlighting Zed here, a champion they used to play here, that of course is a play on their name, but hasn't seen as much play recently, a little bit here and then, but they are going to go for Karma again.
Yeah, so in the video he said that's a champion they used to play, and since there's so many mid bans already, they're actually not going to go with it. But Wukong, he's actually viable as a jungler as well as any solo laner, mid or top. So that actually still is a lot of a guessing game for how these lanes are going to play out. Meanwhile, that Karma you just talked about, they're kind of having speed wars right now. Sivir, oh, I raise you a Karma speed up. We'll have to see what they end up with.
Yep, and Daydreaming is going to last pick for his top laner there, Zion. Nasus, a Zion champion if there ever was one. I mean, he was farming a whole lot last game with Shyvana. He's probably going to keep farming again.
I'm excited to see how high we can get those Q stacks, because today, you know, we did have a Nasus, but he didn't really get to that impressive point in the game where he can two-shot an AD carry or something like that. And if a game like this goes that long, you better be sure Zion's going to be on point with his siphoning strikes, and he'll get to that point.
Yeah, we'll have to see here. But last pick Ahri actually as well for Coast there, going back on for Shifter. Did you like his Ahri in game 2 there? It was reasonably effective, it seemed like, but he could never really make the plays we've seen him make with champions like Cassidy and champions like Ziggs.
So apparently, the Ahri Shifter was using a lot of time running away and trying to get away, escape from the tank line, which actually drew attention away from Wiz for a while until he finally got caught at the end. So it did seem like it worked out for them.
I mean, remember, we're kind of running out of mid picks here as well in this game. As you mentioned, 6 mids more or less being banned out here in this game. And I wonder if the Walking Zed will throw it back here. Oh, wow!
I hope Scar is still watching because this is definitely one of his favorite champions, as well as a lot of other people. Talking about resets, Katarina is a mid lane champion that really needs some help to get going. But once she does, especially in the late game, she can take over team fights very well, especially if you have AoE CC like Wukong.
And this is, again, a very different team comp here in this game again. I mean, Bishu played Orianna twice now. Kind of weird to go to Katarina, who, as you said, very much a snowball-style champion, needs a little bit to get going. Not his style at all, really, with his defensive mids.
Yeah, her base damages are pretty low now because her kit is so powerful when she gets an edge. So she definitely needs some items to start ramping up. Once she does get to that point, though, this looks like a very strong team fighting team for the Walking Zed.
Yeah, and the Walking Zed, they have to have complete faith in their team fighting now after that game. They played a 55-minute slog there and somehow won against a Coast that was desperately trying to grind them out bit by bit. Kobe, anything else you noticed in the comps or anything on the Coast side? Because they're the team that kind of, not up against it at this point because it's even now 1-1, but they kind of want to answer back now in this game.
We can see what Coast were prioritizing was that first pick Sivir. So it's all about the speed for them, and we'll see if they can actually use the on the hunt like we were talking about to move closer to the objectives and grab them early, because Dragon Control is such a big part of these games in 3.14, allowing the other team to come back. If you want to close somebody out, you want to keep that thing yours.
Yeah, and I think Doublelift kind of pointed out that he didn't like WizFusion's carry choice on Varus all that much in the last game. He's on a really powerful AD carry now, and he's been playing really, really well in this series. So if he's going to really put the carry in AD carry, Sivir's definitely a champion he can do it on.
Yeah, she doesn't have an Escape of Ruin, but she has Spell Shield at least. So there's some defense for him in the late game, and it's actually a very powerful defense.
All right, so we're going to get into it now. Game 3 between these two teams. It's one apiece between Coast and the Walking Zed in this best of 5 for the NALCS Spring Promotion Tournament. Jat has transformed magically into Kobe. Thank you for being here.
Yes, I am not, in fact, Jat, but I will, in fact, be here for the remainder of this set.
So we'll see what happens now. Level 1, everybody moving out. And once again, a ton of trinkets. In fact, somebody forgot their trinket.
That's a little bit of a mistake there, but it shouldn't cost him too much. As a jungler, they're just going to miss out probably on his first ward placement. Oh, he's going back already. No problem.
Yeah, I think he realized that, uh-oh, we got to buy a trinket. So
team called out.
But it is Jungle Wukong, actually, which we didn't talk about. So you mentioned he can kind of be played anywhere else, or in a bunch of different lanes, sorry. How does Jungle Wukong kind of work out? He
takes a little while to ramp up. Once he hits level 6, he does have his ultimate, and it's great for a pretty impactful first gank, but the damage on the ultimate takes a while to ramp up. You need that second level of it for it to really start shredding people. So the Wukong jungle is a little bit more of a late game jungle, and we'll have to see how that works out this time around. What I want to talk about, though, the trinkets you mentioned, this time around, we have the support with starting out with a sweeper. I feel like as a jungler, that's a really good move on the 3.14 patch. Because, like I said earlier, the yellow trinkets, the jungler can just mouse over them and see how many wards you've placed. As they support, if your opponent jungler does that, then they can see when you've warded and work around it. But if you have a sweeper, they never know how many wards you have down on the map.
TWC seem to have done some homework here, had a ward exactly where they expected Coast to be kind of rotating through, but it's a big invade onto this blue buff, actually. 4 people, no 3, sorry, as there is Ahri in the mid lane already. Smite away from Nintendo. They tried a buff steal in game 2, didn't quite go well. Gonna go great this time.
So Kez is probably just going to try and hard farm these small camps now. As a jungle Wukong, it's going to be pretty hard for him to go try and counter steal that blue by himself because there was no AD carry and support switch up top. But he can actually catch up fairly quickly now if you just hard farm the small camps and concentrate completely on farming rather than spending time ganking.
Yeah, it's one of those nice things where you want to think about recovery jungling when you kind of have to ult your root a bit after getting counter jungled. Having an extra small camp in the white's kind of nice here on 3.14. I do like Nintendo's decision though. He did go back over to his own blue just to make sure it didn't get stolen away. So he's going to be level 3 nice and quick. Good chompers though coming to Bobby. Hank Hill going to get some nice damage. That's a Daydreaming.
So even though they got level 2, now Bobby gets hooked.
Hook comes in. The Boomerang Blade in there as well for WizFusion. Now the damage coming in as the Ricochet does move through. Nidus remain forced to flash there as the Flay did come through for Daydreaming.
Good exchange actually for Coast. Even though it started out with a missed Flay from Daydreaming, they turned it around and capitalized as soon as they both hit level 2 right there. Nice death sentence landing in the end.
Yeah, Bishu playing safe here in the mid lane. Doran shield up for him. Going to have a potion as well. This is pretty standard for Cat. I do like the Doran shield start when we do see Katarina, just because you're kind of expecting to take a lot of autos. Unfortunately, as you're going to take all that damage from especially ranged.
So almost all the time when you're running a melee champion into a ranged champion, you're probably going to want to start that Doran shield and health potion. It's true of a lot of those even AP melees like Fizz and stuff. There's going to be some sort of stain. Either the Crystalline Flask or the Doran shield. Cat, since she doesn't have mana, definitely prefer the shield.
Yeah, and now Zion up towards the top. Starting to do some work here. Wants to farm that Q as much as he can. I'm pretty curious to see how much cooldown reduction Zion Spartan tries to integrate into his build potentially. He's got a lot of good options as a bruiser to kind of what you want to build. Zion seems to build a little more aggressively as a bruiser. He likes to build some damage items. Saw the Blade of the Ruin King Shyvana in the last game. But as you mentioned, those Q sections keep going up and up. So if we have another long game, we could see crazy things happen.
Yeah, and usually, you know, I talk about how I'm not a huge fan of Nasus because he doesn't really have a huge impact till later in the game. But Zion does have a way of turning around some mid-game kills even before he has his Nasus farmed up. He always seems to bait very well or, you know, call for jungle ganks at the perfect moment. We'll have to see if he can actually get that Nasus game started earlier than usual.
One thing I do like about Nasus versus Shyvana, and with Mundo kind of mixed in there as well, is that you're kind of guaranteed to at least get last hits and start farming, even if your turret gets pushed in early.
And we just talked about, oh, Nidus does get hooked.
Nintendo riding in there, Nidus and Man could be in trouble. Flame back with no flash, that looks like first blood. It is there as Undertow picks it up.
And he was standing on a ward that whole time. Nintendo was right on top of it, actually. And I was just going to compliment Nidus because, you know, the whole sweeper thing, hiding how many wards we placed. Nintendo has no idea. He's standing on one, but it doesn't matter because Daedramin brings him in with a Thresh Lantern and they catch him off guard.
Yeah, so Nidus a little bit caught there with no flash. Does get taken out as Nintendo is going to pick up the first blood here. And didn't quite mention it in Champ Select, but he's back on his Olaf now, and it just feels like such a comfort pick for him, especially in this patch.
He's extremely comfortable on that champion. Plus, he got 2 blue buffs, so it extended the duration of the first blue buff of Olaf, and that is amazing because he can power farm like no other champion. Shyvana, though, Yuzuki, since he got frustrated shoving Zion into his turret, and not being able to do anything after that, not being able to dive him, decided to try and proxy a little bit and then sort of mess with Nintendo in the jungle, but really hasn't been able to gain too much out of this. All he's been doing is shoving Zion to his turret.
Yep. Yuzuki now going to rotate back up here. Zion, again, all he can really do is just kind of chill out and last hit as best he can, while that Q is going to get stacked up here. And he's maxing it here as well, which I do like. He knows his job. Get as many Q stacks as possible. So you rotate here towards the mid lane. Shifter hanging out pretty even on CS, commanding Bishu there, actually, for kind of keeping up nicely up against the Ahri.
Yeah, game plan here in the mid lane for Bishu early is pretty much avoid all charms, and then he'll be okay. He's just trying to CS at this point. Like we said, he needs a couple of items before he starts making aggressive moves. And Shifter, just hitting level 6, means that he is now going to be the first one looking to roam. A roaming level 6 Ahri, if the other lanes are not expecting it, can be extremely potent gank.
And we know just how much Shifter loves to roam here as Zion once again kind of hanging out in his island. He's a little behind on CS here up against Yuzuki, who is very much starting to turn the proxy on here. Going to move down between the turrets and just eat all this wave here at Shyvana. And this is the bad thing about Nasus that I think you wanted to point out, Kobe. There is nothing you can do here in this spot.
you lose a little bit of map control. But like I said before, Yuzuki, even though he is farming between turrets, he's not gaining that much for his team, maybe taking a white or 2. Meanwhile, we have Nintendo looking down bottom and trying to harass this Jinx and Karma lane out from under their turret.
And remember, Kez from the jungle kind of stopped a little early there with his blue buff being still on the way. He's been very quiet, just farming away so far, up to level 5 on his Wukong.
Right, just what I said. He needs to hard farm his jungle. The small camps will catch you right up, even if your blue buff is taken away. He's done just that, hasn't wasted any time ganking, and he's right back up there.
I do like the ward there from Nintendo. It looks like Costa signaling that they want to take this blue if they can. So looks actually minion getting cleared out. I know the ward being put down. Very nice moves there from Kez. It was not a minion, Kobe.
Because he's playing so defensive right now and he knows he's already been evaded, the pink ward on his own blue is a very good idea. Trying to clear out everything that they can around that side of the map because they know that Nintendo will like to continue his invade spree and try and continue to punish him.
Yeah, Shifter going very deep in. Charm will miss though, and Spirit Rush not quite enough to keep tagging Bishu, so Katarina survives the first all in there from Ahri, and all the summoners still up as well. Now Yuzuki rotating around level 8 to level 5. I don't think Nintendo likes this.
Alright, so he missed the bush a little bit, so he's not going to be able to see the health on the golem, but doesn't matter that much since Nintendo would be able to, well, actually his smite just came up, but he would be able to take that one away, and Yuzuki is outnumbered, so it'd be a very dangerous contest for him.
Interestingly enough, that actually kind of gives Zion a little bit of free time here in this one, so he's not going to be too unhappy. Again, just happily farming away, still behind, but as long as he's stacking his Q, he is a happy Nasus indeed. Down towards the bottom lane, we've got actually a CS discrepancy here for Jinx as WizFusion continuing his run of strong play here on Sivir. About 15 CS or so up there in that one. Dip
Right, so that was the trade-off there. Because we had Kez hard farming his jungle, Nintendo was actually getting off ganks that were unanswered, and now Bobby gets hooked again.
Great grab there, forcing Bobby to flush away, and again, wasting those summoners feels almost as good as getting a kill there when you land that hook.
All right, so Kez has hit level 6, so he's coming for his high-impact gank that will have the AoE knockup, and they're just going to try and count on the aggression of the Thresh and Sivir, and hopefully this Wiz Fusion lane is going to attempt another all-in at the perfect moment.
And they're pretty far ahead. The speed up from Karma moving in as well. Daydreaming going to get rocketed as well as the Cyclone goes down. The Lantern out as well. In fact, they're looking for the counter gank there. Kez going to get grabbed in the decoy though.
Perfect timing right there. Kez very, very quick with his W, just in time, making Daydreaming grab that clone, but it was also a very early rocket there by Bobby. It does more damage the lower that you are, so starting off with that one is not going to grab you a kill.
Yeah, I mean, kind of guaranteed to hit with the CC kind of starting out there, so I do understand what's happening, but you're right, it didn't do maybe as much damage as it would have there, and I love the presence of mind there from Coast, knowing that Nintendo's around and he's able to counter gank there. Didn't waste any time actually going back in and reinitiating.
And now, actually, they do have the upper hand here because they know Wukong's ultimate was used. So even though he is waiting there in that Tribush, there's not much that this TWZ 3-man team can do to repel the Coast onslaught.
Yeah, they did spot Bishu off with that Tribush ward, I believe, so they should be backing off here. Shifter would have caught it as well, as he's now got Blue Buff on his Aura, just going to clear out this wave as fast as he can.
Yeah, so Shifter, he gets to shove yet another wave all the way into the turret, and that's because TWZ had to call Bishu down from mid lane because they were worried about a dive on that bottom lane turret. It's going to cost this Katarina a little bit more and take that ramp-up time a little bit more for Bishu.
Yep, looks like people going back now. BF Sword picked up for Sivir. I imagine that Bobby Hand kill's pretty similar to the BF Sword as well, so probably dueling Bloodthirsters will be the first few items there for our ADs. I'm curious to see what you think about Bishu's item here, because he's got a Blast on. He can kind of build anything.
Right, so he's definitely going for the damage so that he can get into those team fights and have the potential for resets as early as possible. Rushing those Sork shoes to get the Magic Pen, and then just going AP right on top of that. He's not playing around, no boots even. He just wants to be able to have the combat stats. So when the fight does break out, maybe around Dragon, he can roam down there, with not too much difficulty and have a big impact.
Yeah, and I like item build from Zion as well, up towards the top lane. I was wondering how much cooldown reduction he wanted in his build. He's going straight for the Spirit Visage here.
Since there's so much magic damage coming out from Shyvana, and she's obviously going to keep constantly shoving her wave and then looking to grab stuff out of the jungle, pretty good early pickup for him. And also some nice cooldown reduction so he can start stacking up.
Lifesteal as well from his passive. I mean, he's just a happy Nasus right now. Zion is very, very happy with what's happening now. Lane is Nintendo going to rotate around as well. They're going to start a bit of a fighter. In fact, Zion likes his chances here. Yuzuki takes a little bit too much damage. But Zion is going to continue. He wants to freeze this wave as long as possible. He knows his turret's been pushed in. It's about 50% health. Just wants to keep it alive as long as he can.
And like we said, Yuzuki, he is just getting a little frustrated trying to shove that Nasus into the turret. He wants to gain more because he knows he has the upper hand at this point in the game. So he's looking to try and take as much as he can. Uh-oh, here we go. Down bottom.
Four members of TWZ move in. The hook actually lands about Wukong. Flash ulting in, then intended. Perfect Ragnarok, though. And the box defensively being thrown down by Daydreaming as well. That was a fantastic counter initiation.
And that was also the second time TWZ called Bishu away from mid lane, costing him some more CS, some more experience, while Shifter is just doing work on the turret, as well as farming up every minion that you can grab.
And Kezi, kind of an interesting choice for his boots, actually. He may be thinking he wants to be a bit more high impact with his presence around the map. Boots of mobility. It's been a while. Oh, steal of the white. 105 bonus gold for Nintendo.
Nice shot there by Nintendo. Definitely one of his favorite champions. He's no stranger to throwing those axes. He's had a lot of practice.
Really has here. Wiz Fusion, Daydreaming, and Nintendo all grouping down the bottom. So annoying when you have Thresh and a Siege as well. You just stand there. You can stand in the turret for a couple of seconds. Lantern right on out.
There's a little, 4-meter lantern right there. Didn't go too far, but did get the shield.
Never be too careful.
Help with the trade there as well, yes. I do like the rotations here. Yuzuki still wants to grab something of importance out of this early lead that he has over Zion, and he's going for blue.
It's going to be a 3v1 right now that the blue looks like Diggo over to Kez, but he's taking a decent amount of damage as Bishu going to pop the out now. Shifter going to join in there as well. But that's a decoy there of Kez. The charm will miss as well. So that's a flash wither. They really want into Bishu, but no mana left there. And Ari now Nintendo going to join the party as well. And that's a great 3v3 here as everyone from Coast rotates towards the mid lane. The Super Mega Death Rocket's coming. It does hit, but it's not enough to kill him.
Noble sacrifice there from Kez, going in, allowing Bishu to escape and distracting enemies. But that noble sacrifice actually gave away a blue buff as well.
And another mini lantern down the bottom for Coast. They're chipping away at that turret there, much like Zion did in the last game there at Shyvana. Slowly but surely going to get their push started. If this game keeps going, Kobe, it feels like Coast are going to have quite a nice little buffer for mid-game to really try and get ahead, which is what they couldn't do in the last game.
Well, the game is definitely going to keep going. I'm going to say, don't jinx it for us. And they are going to want to keep on pushing this lead. And like we said, the important part about that is the dragon control. So they want to start getting some vision around here, dropping a little bit more wards.
Yeah, you're right. It is a small lead here, but Coast looking to position, to take a couple of towers, which would jump them up a little bit. But you're right, this dragon's going to be really, really important between these two. Shifter finished up his DFG now as well. That was a smite steal?
Nah, Corkez got another blue buff. He went down before, died, gave up that one, but he got the second.
Shifter still pushing in, almost got this mid turret for himself as well, and Bishu probably spotting the DFG in the inventory, knows he can't really fight.
So that was actually Corkez grabbing that blue without even a smite. Nintendo smited it, Corkez comes away with the blue.
No, nice little move there from Kez. Kind of outplaying Nintendo a little there in that battle. Managed to keep his own blue buff, which is nice. Does deny it from Cat, but not a massive deal here. It's mainly just for the XP. The tower in mid will go down as well, and Bishu wisely backs away very, very quickly.
Mid turret down is going to be huge for that next dragon focus that we're looking for here. Meanwhile, up top, Zion continuing to take a bit of a beating from Yuzuki, but since he's finished his Spirit Visage, he's able to heal up even quicker than before with that natural life steal.
And again, he's continuing to tank the turret waves as they come in here is Zion and just keep his turret alive for as long as possible. Very impressive that Nasus here is able to keep it up for as long as possible. And you keep talking about it, Yuzuki, he just wants to do something.
Yes, and this time, Zion even, trailing him a little bit into the jungle, trying to follow, see exactly where he's going to do, what is he up to down here. They drop a ward at the white and see him now. So they're actually going to corner this dragon, and it'll be up to Yuzuki to make use of his Dragon's Descent to escape. Yep,
there is the ultimate does go over there, but Shifter was waiting for a flash out there for Shyvana, as Ari can't really chase anymore. And that's a great rotation coming out from CWZ, but Daydreaming running defense.
Yuzuki finally got his wish. He got something out of his lead over Zion. He drew Shifter over there. So that is one resource that won't join the dragon fight, and it's allowed TWZ to at least start it up. But it looks like, since Zion has his teleport, they might even think about, nah.
No, can't quite get in the intended. Probably wanted to think about a steal at least, but the first dragon is going to go to the Walking Zed here in this game, and that lead's still very thin between these two teams. 1,000 up for Coast, but I have to worry about the late game here. Last game in Game 2, Kobe, we're talking to Jet, it felt like the Walking Zed had the late game here, but Nasus is just such a scary threat if he gets to farm.
Well, it's going to be that Nasus and the Olaf, those are two very powerful late game dive buddies when empowered by On the Hunt from WizFusion. They're going to be able to get to that Jinx, who's very immobile, and beat her down.
But I have to say, I really want to see Shifter kind of making some more plays here on Ari. It's twice now he's had it in this series, and he's farmed very well. He's done well in his lane. He won this lane definitely against Bishu's Katarina. Got an early DFG, has just not been able to do anything with it.
Yeah, I mean, Ari is one of those champions that really benefits from getting nice picks of squishier champions in the jungle, like usually target supports early on. With supports getting buffed, it's a little bit harder to kill the supports. Plus, with all the vision changes, it's a little bit harder to get those picks because you don't have all the extra vision inside the enemy jungle, and you're not sure where the wards of your opponent are because there's no oracles for you to use.
Yuzuki continuing to push in the top lane. There is a mountain of CS in there, by the way, I just noticed. It's about 50 up or so for Yuzuki, and that's many, many minions have been killed. And you can see the gold difference there, about 1,000 up for Shyvana as a result. Bishu in the mid as well, just going to clear things out best he can, but Zion again, he may be quite behind and see his farm in that queue. It's almost like he's getting bonus CS, Kobe.
He gets bonus damage, that's for sure. And he's going to build pure tank here in the beginning. Pretty standard to go Spirit Visage and Sunfire Cape. But he could also go with the Frozen Heart very early, which would add even more cooldown reduction to his build.
Yeah, I mean, Zion valiantly defending the top turret now as well. Yuzuki's gotten it pretty low, but not quite low enough here. The Walking Dead rotating down towards the bottom, it seems like. They're continuing to stick in this lane here at Coast. Yuzuki will pick up the top turret now. Zion's like, whatever. He's going to keep coming.
Finally loses his top turret here. And Yuzuki's able to grab an objective for all the hard work that he's been doing. Wiz gets caught!
Nice Spell Shield Lantern out though, and that's going to be okay. You can see the rocket coming in as well. Bishu really wants his great play back in there as well from Daydreaming. Now the teleport's coming in, a beautiful Death Sentence going to hold him in here, but Zion, little too much here. Bishu does get out there, but no, Zion's going to pick it up. Now they continue to run through here, and this Nass is absolutely massive, just trying to take out everybody. Kez picks up the low Daydreaming. Now Nintendo rotating in as Jinx goes down to Zion. Now the Charm moving in. Shifter over the top on a Nida. Should be able to crush that down and is going to get that. Now last but not least, Kez, who used to run for his life, he gets with it up. The Spirify there tries to decoy Juke, but it's just not enough.
The old press S trick and make them think you've just used your W doesn't quite work out there. But man, Daydreamin saved the day on this one, stopping Bishu from getting that reset and the timely teleport in from Zion because he didn't use it when they went to go for Dragon, enabled Coast to actually clean that one up. Meanwhile, Yuzuki able to claim another turret up top because Zion did leave.
He's actually doing his best Zion Spartan impressions. We are going to get a replay of that fight, Kirby.
So Kez, he's able to get the spell shit off with the Q and then immediately ulties. And if they had been able to keep Wiz there, then it would have been dead Wiz because the rocket was coming in. But this is the beautiful, basically linebacker play from Daydreamin, stopping Bishu in his tracks, getting no resets, and the teleport in from Zion means they're actually able to kill Bishu, and he's so tanky even at this point that the 3 members that are left here for TWZ are going to have to run in fear. Shifter, extremely mobile, able to hop that wall quite easily, and clean up Nidus.
Yep, so as we stand now, 2-2 in turrets here, and 6-1 in kills. They're up for Coast here with a Dragon up for Coast in their advantage. So, sorry, no, the Walking Dead actually got the first Dragon here. So very close game still in gold. Less than 1,000 between them. They can see 700 in fact going on now. But it's kind of a ticking time bomb almost here for the Walking Dead. Coast, they're going to keep getting stronger here as they approach the late game.
It does look like it's going to be heading to another pretty late game here for these two teams. And for TWZ, the good news is that Yuzuki still having the upper hand here, able to put some good harass onto Zion, but they're getting very close to that point where Zion can actually take the upper hand. He's got the sheen, so that much more impact on every one of his siphoning strikes means that he can now start dealing as good as he gets.
So Coast continuing to farm up here. Yuzuki just trying to push out as much as he can, be as annoying as Zion Spartan was in the last game here. Shifter pushing up the mid again as well, as Bishu just trying to collect as much CS as he can here. I mean, Coast, once again, we saw this in the last game, positioning themselves aggressively around the map, splitting off their confident in their ability to fight skirmishes and the like here. But the Walking Dead, they kind of went through all this last game. They had a 55-minute class on how to handle that here. So, again, a very tight game. It's going to be really tricky for either team to find an advantage.
And this Wukong just got a huge boost to his damage there, too. So his ultimate is going to be a very, very big tool for them. And having started with those boots of mobility means that he can come in out of combat and use his W to get into the middle of your team under stealth and then pop the ulti.
So Zonya's finished up for Bishu now as well. So again, kind of opting for a defensive choice here, very much his style, whereas Shifter once again probably going for the death cap there after that DFG. And again, this next Dragon going to be critical for both these teams. Coast there first though. We'll see if they can get it done.
So they do have the Dragon timer, and they're not going to let TWZ get another one. Immediately starting it up and grabbing it. Nice initiation.
Now Kez could be in trouble here as he does get Death Sentence up. Does go down to Shifter as the damage from Ari is just a little too much. And this time Zion didn't have his teleport, but he was up the top lane, keeping Yuzuki out of it.
Again, Daydreamin with a quality Death Sentence right there. That's a classic spot to hide when you're doing Dragon and you want to bait, or you know that they're going to come check. He does end up grabbing that Death Sentence on, and they're rewarded with a kill onto a very, very high priority target there.
And we saw Zion Shyvana in the last game able to duel Yuzuki's Renekton very nicely. Here's Nasus now just with a Sheen and those Qs stacking up, is able to fight now as well. So all that bullying that Shyvana was doing earlier really just shaken off now by Zion. And I love this adaptation. We didn't talk about it in Champs League, but Teleport feels like the perfect solution to last game.
Teleport's going to be a huge late game. Ooh, he also gets the white right there.
Always nice.
Very nice little Spirit Fire over the edge. Yuzuki pretty much seems like he's been frustrated most of this game trying to fight that Nest.
It seems like it. I mean, again, he's trying to be as annoying as Zion was in the last game, but can't quite come up with it yet. As we do see continuing farm now coming through from that Nasus. He's going to town. I mean, Zion doesn't like to leave his lane, is what we learned from the last game here. And it's two big burly men chasing each other up to the top. I guess, sorry, it's a dog and a dragon lady.
Yeah, that's an interesting fight, but it's not going to come to any deaths very soon. Yuzuki has also warded pretty deep, so he knows that they're going to keep on drawing over a lot of resources from Coast, but he's done such a good job of not getting caught over there. This is a really good job of Yuzuki keeping up his pressure.
Yeah, draws Shifter over once again, but Shifter will defend his blue buff. Azari able to pick that one up now, so that's nice there. Coast now looking towards the mid. Again, they're kind of rotating constantly around the map, just trying to find a position as we look down over at the items here. Bloodthirster, static shiv up for Sivir for maximum item pushers coming through here. The same build coming up for Jinx now as well.
So, you know, Bloodthirster static shiv's pretty nice, but Zion is up over 400 extra damage on his Q already. So once he does get close to that Jinx, it's going to be a pretty painful experience for her.
And again, if Zion wants to replicate his performance in the last game, and with Teleported, he's even better at split pushing. He's going to be chunking down turrets very quickly.
He's got no mana right now, and Yuzuki has a red buff, but Yuzuki doesn't want to chase. You know, he's had too much time
so long
chasing that dog.
It would just take too long. Yuzuki's like, it could kill you, but I have to chase you all the way to your Nexus probably for that to happen, given how tanky Nasus is. Rotation from TWZ though. They're going to look to go in onto this mid tower now. This has really been a big focal point of this game for me. Coast got the mid tower pretty early there with the aggression shift it was able to put out. And this tower in the mid's really healthy for Coast now.
You can see, though, that the Walking Zed are very careful of all the skill shots that can come out from Coast. Because, yeah, you know, Ahri's great for picking people off in the jungle, but she can actually do that just as well defending turrets. Her and Thresh are really what Coast are looking to start off their team fights with. If they land one of those skill shots onto a target from TWZ, then they can easily chain them and land another one after another and make TWZ pay.
And it's kind of an interesting point now. I don't know if Coast will notice, but Kez actually used his ultimate just because he liked pressing the button.
He likes riding spinners.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful ultimate. You want to see the animation there.
Oh.
Okay, so another death bush being set up.
It's the EG brushing out at this point. It has to be after yesterday.
We've seen this one be very painful. Kez does have an invisibility that he can use to get close and then ward it. Looks like they do not get caught yet.
I love Zion's positioning here as well. He's kind of baiting them up towards that section.
Nidus
to walk through the jungle, and here we go. Nidus in a lot of trouble. As Karma's going to get low here. Zion now charging through the wither there onto Bishu. Extended cast from the ultimate flash Q. Picks up the kill. And now Bishu's in a whole lot of trouble as Coast looking to go in as well. No extra kills, unfortunately. But that was a very funny flash from Nasus.
The Bush camp does end up paying off. Even though it's just the support that they grabbed, they were able to take out one member. And Zion did not hesitate to use his flash for the finish. They're also rewarded with another objective after this. This is key. If it was just a support kill, not that big a deal. But they, again, take down another turret.
Zion's Q destroyed about a third of that turret's health. It was absolutely immense, and that's only going to get worse here.
It's also telling that he feels confident in going full damage now because he's not finishing his Frozen Heart. He's moving over towards the Trinity Force right now, already picking up the Phage. So he's looking to be a brawler and start putting damage down.
Yeah, we're going to begin the Baron dance once again, it seems like, here between these two teams. Coast having that mid turret still up there in the outer section. It's going to be nice for them, though, if they want to get a lot of vision kind of near the center of the map, which, of course, near where Baron is. And I like this decision to go 3 red trinkets by Coast. Not all 5 that we saw in the last game. Just 3 here, Kobe.
They've toned it down a little bit this time. You know, they want to still keep a few wards up. One actually inside TWZ's base, which is doing a lot of work for them. It sees, you know, which lane the members are going to exit each time, and allows them to plan accordingly.
Yep, Nintendo clearing out the Baron now as well. Both teams going to start jostling for position around that section. Wiz Fusion out towards the top. It's going to clear things out. Actually, it's a QSS, interestingly enough, his next item, it seems like.
Yeah.
Could be a Banshees, I guess, as well.
Could be looking for that one. Some magic resistance is always going to be key when you are against Katarina, just because you are worried about resets. Similar thing like with Kha'Zix, you always want something so that he doesn't get a reset off of you. But he'll probably not look to upgrade. This is actually getting a little bit more interesting, this brawl down bottom, because they both take each other down to 50.
Yeah, Zion Spartan, though, I mean, Blade of the Ruined King, I actually love this adaptation from Yuzuki. He's like, I need to fight Zion. He wants to fight me, but Trinity Force Nass is trying to get some work done. Kosto looking deep to 4v4. Bishu going in there, looking for the reset. Whiskersion goes down to Nidus the main, and now Bishu going to continue to chase him, but a good box there from Daydreaming. Going to only lose one there.
Cortez does a great job getting in there with the invisibility as well. Perfect ultimate placement, but that was the flash ulti from Wukong. You don't get to pull that trick off too often, and they're going to have to capitalize on it. Again, just one kill, not that big a deal, but a Dragon is huge.
Yeah, Dragon would be nice here, especially with the extra gold it's given out now, but Kosa looking to run defense. Zion Spartan currently 1v1.
Zion has so much sustain because of the lifesteal from his passive and the Spirit Visions that he built early that, yes, he can trade pretty much evenly with Yuzuki, but then he can sustain even quicker than Yuzuki can, even though Yuzuki's got Blade of the Ruined King.
They actually drew a lot of TWC away there. They're going to get the Dragon, though. Attempted an axe steal there with Olaf, but can't quite get it done.
Yeah, Coast don't want to fully contest that one because they're down in numbers and they don't want to throw a whole team fight away just for one objective.
Yeah, lost a lot of health there as well, so everyone's going to back away slowly here. Zion Spartan probably has a ton of money here and going to spend up some items. Oh, this is super cute. Teleports off to the wall. Going to start Baron, but there's a ward here, Kobe.
They're trying to burn it down. They even know that there's vision, and they're just trying to burn this one before Cortez can get there. Even if he did, there's no smite.
They're looking for a 50-50. You're right, there is no smite. His Shifter picks up Bishu as well off the back, and they're going to get Baron. That went horribly wrong for the Walking Zed.
So I talked about that during laning phase, where Cat's trying to avoid all of the charms from Ahri. Shifter right there, able to land the kill solo onto Bishu, and that's the power of, you know, getting that Deathfire Grasp first. If there's one target, you can burst them down.
And here we go. Going to see this again here. Bishu.
Oh, what a hook to start it out. That was Daydreaming again, actually. Trying to dodge the charms is huge, but you also got to watch out for the death sentences.
And I was about to give credit to Shifter for kind of maybe, you know, being a little more on point with his Ahri charms, making some more plays, but you're right, Kirby. That was Daydreaming once again. Maybe we can see why teams really like banning his threshold, taking it away from him. He is a monster on this champion.
And, you know, Bishu did build a defensive item. He's got the Zanyas, but you can't use it while you're in the hook because you won't be able to activate it, and it goes down before he can even make a move.
Yeah, I mean, Shifter just bursted him from pretty much 100 to 0 at that point. And Coast, they got 2 Barons actually in the last game and actually couldn't close it out. We'll see what they can do here on this one. And the difference seems to be they have a lead this time. It's not a big one, but they do have a lead.
Yeah, I mean, it's about chaining the skill shots before, like you said, start out with the hook into the charm. That rewards them with a Baron. Huge for this team. It's not that easy for them to siege up, but they've got Zion, who's amazing at split pushing, and now with the Baron buff, he definitely has the upper hand on Yuzuki. So the rest of the team just has to worry about a 5 versus 4 situation because there's no teleport available.
Just finished his Frozen Heart up as well. The Walking Zed maybe looking to go in with that teleport down for Zion. Sivir ult was popped in there as well for Wiz Fusion, so not going to have on the hunt for a small while. And look at this. Here we go. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, he's crested 500. That's also a Trinity Force empowered plus 500 Siphoning Strike right there.
I mean, does a decent chunk there to Yuzuki, who's pretty tanky on Shyvana at this point. But Zance is going to chunk down the tower. Boom! Oh my goodness. So much damage already. We saw this before.
Oh!
His face taking it down!
What man? Wrecking crew right here. Zion takes the turret and takes it.
And he's just going to walk out of this one. Coast, great pressure in the mid lane to support Zion's split push. Don't need the teleport. Happy to force the 4 before it happens. Yuzuki's like, I want to fight you. And Zion's like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, he's trying to make him pay for what he just did. That's kind of disrespectful, just to ignore me and take my turret. But now it's Yuzuki running for his life.
Daydreaming flames back after the flash and misses the death sentence. Suzuki going to flash out now as well. Now Keza going to go in, but a great shot moving in. Bishu with the ultimate trying to get it done. Wukong quite low there, but Zion still not dead. It's Daydreaming going to pick up the first kill onto Kez. Now the damage coming through as well as Ahri's going to take out a kill onto Nidus Domain. And beautiful fight.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a huge win for Coast. They're making this game look like they definitely want to take it quickly.
There's the
that
triple.
Was such good control of the Wukong ultimate. He only got to knock up Zion with it.
And Zion, he just doesn't care. He is the tankiest man in the world. This is going to be game 3, it looks like, here for Coast. Oh my goodness. still can't get over how epic the Nasus damage is. And looks like Coast are going to take this to Game 4.
Beautiful play there from Coast, especially Daedream. In that last fight, he was able to play back the ulting Wukong, not able to get anyone else knocked up, and Zion's damage was enough in the end.
I mean, if we have to pick an MVP for this game, Kirby, I think it 100% has to be Daydreaming. His Thresh looks scary. That's ban-worthy to me almost in this series.
It was good. He had a lot of flashy plays. Zion was the one who had the power in the end, but it was pretty much boring work farming up those minions. So yeah, we can give it over to Daydream.
And I'm sure he likes it. But I can tell you Yuzuki did not like that one bit there as Shyvana, I mean, was up 50 plus CS at that point. It just didn't matter. There's more than enough Q-stacks there for Zion. And you can see there the Walking Zed. Got to consider now, what do we do now? Backs against the wall. One win away for Coast to get back into the LCS here. And they're going to have to run 2 back here for the Walking Zed if they want to be the ones in.
You can see the Walking Zed already too, starting to think about what can they do for the next game. They're trying to think, what can we get around? Probably going to have to do something about Zion's Nasus, because if you leave it alone, it's going to get beefy. Yuzuki did everything he could that game. He was shoving behind the turrets, farming behind the turrets, taking as many jungle camps as he could, you know, drawing Shifter even from mid lane, and yet Zion still got extremely tanky. He still destroyed faces in the end game.
I mean, we saw 6 mid bans that game, Kobe. Do you think we're going to see changes now that we've seen the Nasus, seen something like the Thresh there from Daydreaming?
So, you know, Shifter running Ahri 2 times in a row means, you know, he's got other options. So they're probably going to want to switch up the bans. And that being said, actually, Shifter is a very versatile player. He plays even a lot of other lanes, too. That's how he's so high on Challenger, #2 on Challenger in North America, because one of the big things about solo queue, playing a lot of different champions.
Yep, so we've got to take a short break, but when we return, we'll see if Coast